Okay, so you want to know? Say your question again.
Yeah. Like, what's like when do you think Mashiach is going to come? Like also like what do you have to do to make it come?
Okay, so here's the answer. It's going to be a little bit long, but I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. Okay, there's a Gemara that says that somebody meets Mashiach and says, Mashiach, when are you coming? And he says, Hayom, I'm coming today. So he says, he got all excited. And then Mashiach didn't come that day. So he's like, what's wrong? And then he bumped into Eliyahu Navi. And he said, Mashiach lied to me. He said he was coming today, and he didn't come. What's the story? So Eliyahu Navi said, what did he say exactly? And he said, I'm coming Hayom in Bekolo tishma'u. If you listen to my voice, if you hear my voice, right? Just 2 Parshiyot ago in Parshat Shmot, Moshe comes and he says, Hashem says, I'm taking you out of Mitzrayim. I'm going to take you out. And what was the reaction? That they couldn't listen to Moshe because they had so much pain, so much hard work. They had shortness of breath. They couldn't listen to Moshe. They weren't able to. A lot of times when a person has pain in their life, whether they're struggling with a sickness, they're struggling with some health, they're struggling with finances, they're struggling with a friend, they're struggling with any relationship or anything at all, it becomes so painful that they're carrying this pain on them that anything else is too much for them. That somebody's like, oh, can you do me a favor for 1 second? You're like, no, I can't. I really can't. I have no patience. I have nothing. I can't even listen. Right? That's where Bnei Yisrael were when they couldn't listen to Moshe. But what does David HaMelech tell us in Tehillim? It tells us, Hashlech al Hashem Yahavcha, v'hu yichal kalecha. That you take your burden and you give it to Hashem, and Hashem will take it off of you. So if you're carrying all of this weight and it's too heavy and you can't handle anything else, even a feather is too much for you, but if you don't have to carry it, you take that pain, you give it to Hashem, and all you have to do is show up, then it changes everything. And then you can accept anything that comes your way. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is that we have to grow in our Emunah and our Bitachon. When you grow in your Bitachon, you're going to reach a level where you're actually able to see and hear things you weren't able to see and hear before. The closer you get to Hashem and the more you believe and the more you trust in Hashem, the more you're actually going to see reality and the more you'll be able to hear the call of Mashiach, right? And there's a Gemara also at the end of Sota that talks about what's going to happen before Ben David comes, before Mashiach comes. And it keeps going through. The world is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. I'm not going to go into detail, but it gets worse and worse and worse. But the bottom line is, it's going to get so bad that we won't have anyone to lean on except for Hashem. And then Mashiach's going to come. When we realize that we have no one to lean on besides Hashem, that's when Mashiach is going to come. So our mission in this world right now, we're at the time at the doorstep of Mashiach. It's time for us to grow in our bitachon and to help others grow in bitachon. And then we will, Mirz Hashem, experience and welcome Mashiach. Hayom.
But you like actually believe that Mashiach will come, and like if you like believe, but like you're also like planning ahead and like you're supposed to believe that like it's coming. Like
Afal pishit mameya im kol zeh achake lo. Do you know what achake means?
Like we'll wait.
We'll wait. But achake is a term that Chovot HaLevavot talks about, describes one of the levels of bitachon. There's many levels of bitachon. There's like, okay, I believe in Hashem, I lean on Hashem, I hope for Hashem's salvation, I believe I'm sheltered by Hashem. Achake is a much higher level of bitachon where we're actively waiting and we're anticipating it so badly, like we know Mashiach's going to come any day. So therefore, if we were really on the level of mechake, we would be saying something like, okay, do you want to come over for Shabbos in case Mashiach, like in case Mashiach doesn't come? Like we'd always have that on our lips.
Your wedding invitation.
Right.
The wedding's going to be here unless Mashiach's coming, in which case it'll be
in 770 or something like that. Right. No, but if we really, like somebody once said to, I think it was the Chafetz Chaim, and I may be getting some of the details mixed up. He goes, the Chafetz Chaim said to this other rabbi, and he goes, are you waiting for Mashiach? Are you mechake for Mashiach? So he goes, yeah, every single day. So he goes, no, you're not. If you were mechake for Mashiach, you would be waiting like Yankel's mother at the train station. So what's Young? Do you know the story? Yankel's mother at the train station. There's this couple that couldn't have kids. Are you interested? Are you liking this?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so there's this couple that couldn't have kids for a long time. And they davened, and they worked, and they got brachas, and they went all over, and nothing was working. And then they were davening, and finally, she got pregnant. And they were so excited, and then he was born, and it was a boy, and they had a bris, and they were so excited, and they celebrated like anything, and every birthday they celebrated. It was the most exciting part of their life because they waited for over 20 years for that to happen, and every milestone was the most exciting thing in their life. And then at a certain point, the boy went away to yeshiva, and back in the day, we didn't have cell phones, and we weren't able to talk to each other every single day. So the only way is like you could send a message for somebody that's going from one town to the other. You'd be able to send a message. She got a message that when her son was in yeshiva, he was captured, or he was arrested or something. He was in jail, and she was worried, and she didn't know what to do, and more davening and more worry and more, whatever she could do. She was davening, and finally she got word that he was getting released and he was going to come home. And she was so excited, and she waited until finally it was the day, and she went to the train station, and she was waiting. And the train passed, and she went and she checked on the train. She kept looking. Is Yankel here? Is Yankel here? Is Yankel here? Is Yankel here? And she couldn't find him. And then finally, like a train, when he was supposed to come, shows up, and she goes, Yankel's not here. She's like, where's Yankel? Where's Yankel? And then somebody on the train says, Yankel's coming on the next train. He missed this one. He was getting on the next one. So she continued waiting. That's how we have to wait for Mashiach. That's what the Chafetz Chaim tells us. And that's why when people say, I have a bag packed for Mashiach, do you really have a bag packed for Mashiach? The Chafetz Chaim did. But do we really have a bag packed for Mashiach?
No.
Back to what I was saying about Bnei Yisrael in Mitzrayim, they weren't mechake. They maybe were on the bottom level. They believed in Hashem, but like that was as far as it went.
Hashem jumping in before they went into the water.
Right. So that was the water, and that's when it said, that's when they finally really. But how do we know that they grew in their Bitachon along the way? Because every makkah and makkah, usually when something bad happens, you get all anxious and worried, and then something else bad happens, and then you get all anxious and worried, but nothing bad happened the first time. It just like you got scared. But then another scare and another scare, but nothing happened. Hashem protected you each time. Like, with all the missiles that are coming over here, or all the makot that are happening in Mitzrayim, Hashem protected each time. So each time that we see Hashem protecting us, we could grow a little more and more in our bitachon. Finally, we got to the level where we were so confident we could go take sheep. Every single one could take a sheep, which was the avodah zara in Mitzrayim, and they could go and they could tie it up and just leave it there, like to tease the Egyptians for 5 days before they slaughtered it, and then they put the blood on their doorpost so that everyone could see, and then they roasted it. And why roasting it? When you boil something, you don't really smell it as much. When you roast it outdoors, you can smell it across the time. And every single Jew is doing that. So all of Mitzrayim, you can only smell barbecue, right? They had so much confidence, and that's what made them zocher to be taken out.